Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are, back to crunch time. Somebody called the big game the wrong thing. Government, the NFL shut us down. It was a mess, but we're back, and we are in action, and we are joined by two of the sharpest minds in the biz. I was going to kind of mess around and joke around and have a good time, but now we're kind of getting up against it here. We got TJ in the house. What up, TJ?
Doing well, ready to dive into it. We got a fun slate post-trade deadline. It really feels like this is an end-of-the-year slate, but lots of lots and lots of value, so we can do kind of whatever we want.
End of the year as in when things get wackadoo and you've got like 3K guys that are going to get 30 minutes type of deal?
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, that's interesting. Those can be fun. We got Taylor as well. Taylor, what's up, man?
Not much. Survived a nice little earthquake this afternoon, so happy to be alive and ready to roll.
I'm glad to hear. Did you feel it, or did you just like hear about it? Because there,
it was like it was like a rolling kind. It was a 4.6, so nothing too severe. But
yeah, it's kind of it's kind of significant.
It's something.
For what it's worth, some people are saying, "Why did my stream end?" Somebody on the way out of the GrindersLive crew hit end stream instead of leave stream, and that's the wrong button to push. Also, did you guys notice how I expertly diffused that argument by not saying stop arguing, but by just talking about Super Bowl props? That's
about what?
Big game. How can you say it's an expertly when you messed that up again?
Twice. I'm sorry. Don't fire me. I like this job. It's the big game. It's the big game. It's the big game. That's all. I'm just going to shut up and let's talk about the slate. Taylor, why don't you walk us through what's happened and what still is to come?
Yeah. So we've gotten some news lately. Tyrese Maxey out. DeJounte Murray out. Let's see. A bunch of Sixers are out. They made trades, but they do have new guys available tonight that are starting. We just got, let's see, waiting on Zion, waiting on the Lakers stars who may be actually questionable. Kind of hard to say. Fred VanVleet out, of course, as was the case the other night. So plenty of moving once again.
Okay. Do you want to just walk us through a build over on FanDuel? Start it off there.
Let's do it. So Campaign is a new Sixer. He's available and he is starting because Maxey's out. Nick Nurse said that he and Buddy will play enough minutes, whatever that means. They only have 10 guys available. The Sixers do. They're playing Atlanta, who only has 9 guys available. This game has a high total. It's first game of the night. 246 total, I see. Atlanta, slight favorite on the road. So it is a good game to target. Payne at 4.6 on FanDuel now looks like a staple. Shooting guard, point guard eligible. Damian Lillard we got also. He is on track to play for the Bucks after missing the past few games. They are facing the Hornets, so great spot for them. He's only 8.7 on FanDuel. I think Payne and Lillard are probably the optimal point guard pairing. Trae Young is in play too. Like I said, Atlanta's down to 9 with no DeJounte Murray. Amen Thompson, Emmanuel Quickley in the same game. Amen Thompson going to start again, we think, for VanVleet. He's more expensive on FanDuel than he is on DK, but he's still popping in projections quite a bit. Bogdan Bogdanovic, now that Murray's out, I mentioned they're down to 9, small forward, shooting guard eligible. Minutes should be pretty safe for him. He's 6'5". He looks excellent in all formats again tonight. Kelly Oubre should see usage for Philly along with Tobias Harris and Buddy Hield. I think Buddy is a better play on DK than he is on FanDuel with Thompson, Oubre, Bogdanovic, Payne. I mentioned quickly Kevin Huerter, another kind of cheap shooting guard, small forward you can consider for cash. Let's see. Small forward Eugene Omoruyi, we think, is going to start for Washington. They're pretty much down all their centers tonight. He's 4.2 on FanDuel. They're playing Boston. They're huge underdogs, as the Wizards usually are. But minutes are the thing with him. Even if he doesn't start, I think he has a path to mid-20s minutes by default, maybe more. So he has gotten the rainbow tags over here in lineup HQ. Still a staple in cash games. Corey Kispert, kind of a last piece value, 4.9, just because the Wizards are down a few guys. Not an ideal play, but still cheap enough to consider for cash. Power forward Zion looks decent if he's in. Brandon Ingram, if he's out, looks better. Tobias Harris, I mentioned. Jabari Smith gets a nice usage boost without Van Vliet. He's 6'2" on FanDuel. Played 40 minutes in the last game. The Raptors defense has just fallen off a cliff since they made their trades. Let's see. Jay Crowder, not a bad cheapie. Sadiq Bey should see significant minutes for Atlanta. And moving to center, it's like looks like a Şengün night again for 9-2 on FanDuel. Should have money to spend if you're not paying all the way up for Jokic, which is viable, as always. Jakob Poeltl, we got news that Kelly Olynyk is not expected to play, so he should still see pretty safe minutes at the 5 for Toronto. Paul Reed and Okongwu, decent mid-range plays. I guess you can throw Nick Richards in there, but I think if you pay up for Şengün, I think that's the way I want to go for cash.
Does Şengün ever get there when he's supposed to get there, or does he only do it on nights we don't play him?
He's always decent, like he's a very high floor play, but yeah, he has kind of had a lack of ceiling games lately, but still a good value.
That's fair. And then as far as power forward, you mentioned liking Zion, and then if Zion's out, Ingram. Is this high enough where you just want to put Zion in as like a placeholder, or do you just play Ingram because he's fine either way? Like, what's your strategy? Or do you just not feel that strongly about either guy and they're just both okay plays? I
think they're both good. Zion is the more expensive of the two, so you can drop down if you need to. Like I said, though, Tobias and Jabari are good in the mid-range. If you don't want to pay a little bit extra for Zion, I think those guys are fine. Tobias is actually the same price as Zion, so scratch that. But yeah, Tobias now with no max, he's kind of popping into more lineups just because the matchup against Atlanta is so good.
Okay, very nice. Let's kick it over to TJ. Could be Travis in the chat. Says, TJ, where you been? Haven't seen you in forever. You're in Saskatoon. It's warm in Saskatoon.
Not that bad. It's warm for how it usually is for us. But yeah, now that the NFL season is winding down because the big game is coming. See what I did there?
Good
job. Just less shows to go around. Lots of great hosts on the team, and so tune in on the weekend, and you'll get lots of me because I'll be back for a big game show on Sunday with Tim and Will, and then NBA tomorrow with I believe Tim and Will again actually. So weekend guy right now, but as soon as MLB season starts up, you'll be seeing a lot more of me again. Yeah, for tournaments today, there's some good chalk and that I think we want to stick with. And starting at the point guard position, first guy would be Cameron Payne. He's going to be like 70% owned, and that's fine. He's underpriced. He's great value. If choosing between Lillard and Trae Young as a spend up at the point guard position in tournaments, I do like Trae Young a little bit better. He could end up just shooting like 35 shots tonight, and I think there's a lot more likelihood that game's close than the Milwaukee and Charlotte game staying close. I like Emmanuel quickly for quite a bit for tournaments, but on FanDuel, probably my favorite play for tournaments here at the point guard position and shooting guard position is CJ McCollum. Zion Williamson is questionable, might sit out for this one. We're projecting him for 5.5% ownership on FanDuel. This is a good spot against LA regardless, and if Zion's out, he becomes even better. So he's somebody I really like for tournaments today. Shooting guard, Payne and Thompson, they're both still totally fine since they're actually outside of Payne. Like all these guys are fairly close together. Thompson is my next favorite of the group between Bogdanovic and Oubre and Quickly for tournaments. I don't mind Herter. But again, CJ McCollum, probably my favorite at this spot. If you need to go really cheap, I think Nick Smith is interesting. Somebody who could play in a close game or in a blowout. And then Jalen Green for tournaments, I think is a very interesting play as well. Not many people go in there projecting only for 15.9% ownership. Small forward, Omarui is, I think, a guy that you could maybe look at fading in tournaments, although it's not like his ownership's actually getting all that high. So I think it's probably going to come in a little higher than this, especially if he starts. I think that's sort of a hedge right now because we're not totally sure if he starts. I love the Brandon Ingram call. Very high on him today. But he healed, like Taylor said, better on DraftKings, but I still like him on FanDuel as well. I think Sadiq Bey and Brandon Miller, these two guys right beside each other, are both fantastic tournament plays. Bay, because Atlanta is heavily undermanned, and we can't really look at these normal stats for Philly because there's no Embiid, there's no their entire team, and so they're not actually a good defensive team without Embiid. And so I think Bay is very interesting, and then Miller going up against Milwaukee. If you're looking to play Giannis, if you're looking to play Lillard, pair either one of them with Brandon Miller because he's going to be super low owned, and for them to reach their ceilings, Charlotte's going to have to keep the game close, and Brandon Miller going off is a way that can happen. Wow. Power forward, love Giannis for tournaments. Brandon Ingram, absolutely love him. Jabari Smith, same thing. Domantas Sabonis going very overlooked in tournaments at 10-7, I think is a fantastic tournament play. You can go Sadiq Bey here as well. And then as long as he's in, I think Anthony Davis is a wonderful tournament play at less than 5% ownership. Center position, AD here as well. Sabonis here as well. Really like both of these guys. Jokic, another strong play as well. And then if you're looking to get a little bit cheaper here, I don't mind Paul Reed. If we won't know this early enough, but I think it's worth waiting for. If Jonas Valanciunas happens to be out, you can get Larry Nance as probably like the best tournament play, like the best center play on the slate. Or power forward, depending on where you want to get to him. As we see here, if you change this to 30 minutes, all of a sudden 28 points, near positive RG value. And at the center position outside of Şengün, we really don't have that many options. So he would become the best cheapie here. And that's about it.
Okay, very good. We should note this show, by the way, presented by FanDuel. If you bet $5, you get $200 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. For new users in Arizona, Colorado, Connecticut, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, Vermont, Virginia, and Wyoming. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 and up. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Shout out to FanDuel, keeping this show free for the people. All we ask is that you hit us with the little thumbs up there, like and subscribe. Let's pop it on over to DK and kind of break down a build there. Taylor, walk through it. Think you're muted. Yeah, I think you're muted.
How about that?
That's better. There we go.
Okay. A lot of the same stuff over here as you would expect. Last run I had 4 Sixers in the optimal, 2 Hawks, so a lot of early stuff. This lineup also has Zion in it, so there is some late stuff you can wait on here. Campaign, like we've said, he's 3.8 on DK, better value over here. Starting for Philly, elite matchup, should see the minutes, just a very easy cash play. Ditto for Amen Thompson, he's only 5.3, significantly cheaper on DK than on FanDuel. Going to be mega chalk as a result, but I think you just play him. The Raptors, like I've said, have really struggled defensively lately. Trae Young, again, big usage for him with Murray out on the other side of that same Philly game. High total here, tight spread. Atlanta very short-handed. Damian Lillard, now that we know he's expected to play, looks solid. Let's see, I think he's 8.9 over here. CJ McCollum, I like quite a bit on this slate. He's only 6.7, regardless of the Zion news. He's going to look pretty good. If Zion is out, he will look better. You can make a case for Quickly in the same range. Just the minutes for him have been quite good, and the usage has been up since the trade. Let's see. Amen Thompson, shooting guard I mentioned, but shooting guard 4.5 on DK. Should see usage on his new team. The minutes should not be a problem either. It's kind of shaky, maybe in tournaments at high ownership, but in cash, don't care about that. Brandon Ingram, I mentioned on FanDuel, also looks good on DraftKings. He's under 8K. Regardless of the Zion news, kind of the same thing as McCollum. Bogdan Bogdanovic got the new T starting. He's 5.9. Easy cash play too in that Atlanta-Philly game. Corey Kispert, I don't really want to do that if I can avoid it. Tobias Harris, like I said, on FanDuel, 7.8 on DK. Very easy play that should lead the team in usage here against the Hawks. Jason Tatum, not sure we need to go all the way up to him, but he's not a bad play. That game just had blowout risk. Boston favored by like 17. Power forward, Zion looks good again over here for 7.1. Like he's just way underpriced on DK. If he's good to go, which I know, so a bit of a risk if you leave him in by himself, unless you're playing him in util. Perhaps you can pivot down to CJ McCollum or someone like Valanciunas, though Valanciunas is also questionable.
Do you guys want to argue for 10 minutes about if Zion's going to be in or out, or no? I think we should. No.
I think we can move on from that.
Okay, all right, that's fair. Just wanted to see if we should keep that going. All right, keep rolling.
We could if you want. We'll see.
Nah, I'm good.
Jabari Smith is only 5'4" over here. He's underpriced for the minutes he should play in a good matchup for the Rockets. Eugene Omoruyi, let's see. He's not popping in as many lineups as he was earlier now that we have this Sixer value, but he is still playable in cash, power forward, center eligible. So that comes in handy for him. Şengün again, 9K? Yeah, 9K flat on DK. Spinning up for him looks like the way to go. No qualms, as always, if you want to pay up for Jokic. It is a great matchup for Giannis against the Hornets here. Dame coming back potentially, lowers his usage a little, but still a great spot if you want to pay all the way up. But I think if Şengün's your most expensive guy, I think you're okay.
Okay.
Who do you like better straight up now that Lillard's expected to play Jokic or Giannis?
I think I still prefer Giannis. Both look fantastic, but Giannis is the lean still for me.
Like a 0.06 difference in projection too. So like almost the exact same.
Yeah. TJ, I don't know if I just missed it because I was kind of rattled off the start of the show because I maybe said the wrong words instead of big game. Can you give me like a zoom out your tournament strategy kind of as you look at this slate, and then we'll go position by position?
Yeah. So looking to kind of avoid a few of the games. Not really, because like Washington, Boston is the only one I'm not getting much of, but I'm still playing Omoruyi. So I'm trying to kind of game stack this as much as possible. I would do more of that if I was playing more than one lineup today, but only playing one. I'm loaded up on Philly and Atlanta. And then just kind of getting a few bits and pieces of these other games. I think the biggest way you can differentiate from the field today in tournaments is going overweight on these last two games here. The Denver and Sacramento, the Pelicans at the Lakers. We have still a bunch of questionable tags here with AD, LeBron, and Zion. Jonas Valanciunas all have the Q tags. Even guys like KCP, who, while it doesn't feel like a big thing for him, that's 32 minutes. And so it actually is. And so I think one of the best things you can do today in tournaments is get heavily overweight on those games. If we end up getting a lot of popping value there, great. And so that's kind of how I'd be wanting to look at things if I were playing more lineups. My one single entry is like a fairly close to optimal lineup with a few adjustments, though.
Okay, very good. Let's run through it position by position, and then we'll get to some QQs. We still have plenty of time.
Point guard position, CJ McCollum is my favorite tournament play here, just like he was on DraftKings. We're projecting low ownership. He's currently projected as the top play at the point guard position here, and that's with Zion Williamson projected as in. So love CJ McCollum here in that spot. Malik Monk, I think, is a great tournament play. And then Campaign, obviously. We love Campaign and Amen Thompson as good chalk. They're just the top plays there. At the shooting guard small forward position, Brandon Ingram, another one of my favorite plays on the slate. Kevin Huerter is fine, but I think I would rather go Malik Monk in tournaments. Austin Reeves becomes one of the better plays on the slate if we happen to get LeBron out. And then if we get oh, wait, I just realized I'm still only have all of these guys on the screen share. There we go. And then Buddy Hield, another one that I think is just great spot today. And then if I need to get different, I do really like Brandon Miller, who I also mentioned on FanDuel. And then if Zion is out, Trey Murphy probably ends up being one of the better salary savers on the slate as well. Small forward, I think Tobias Harris is a chalk I'm okay fading. He very well could have 50 real points today, but there's just I like a guy like Brandon Ingram, I think, a little bit better. And so I'm going with him over Tobias today. Brandon Miller, another one I would rather take a shot on instead of Tobias to get a little bit different. Sadiq Bey, love a lot. Jay Crowder, fine as a salary saver, but Trey Murphy, like I mentioned at shooting guard, probably one of the better plays on the slate if Zion happens to be ruled out. Power forward, I love Giannis. I actually think now that Lillard's in, I'm going to slightly prioritize Jokic at the center position, just above him a little bit. Jabari Smith Jr., the next guy I'd want to go with the most here. 5,400 is just way too cheap for him.
Crazy cheap. Yeah.
And Omarui, it's fine as a salary saver, especially if he starts. If he doesn't, just because it's not that he's bad if he doesn't start. It's just that because we have so much value on the slate, I might just look to pivot somewhere else if he doesn't start. Herb Jones would look a little bit better if Zion is out. Center position, Jokic is my number 1. Giannis is my number 2. Going with those guys, I think I'd probably look to go in the mid-range to the Jakob Poeltls, the Paul Reeds, as the guys that I'd probably want to go with the most. And then Larry Nance would be the number 1 option if Jonas Valanciunas doesn't play.
Okay, good stuff. Taylor, anything you want to add? We got about 10 minutes or so until lock, and we got a few cues coming in.
Do you really like that Brandon Miller call for tournaments? I also think Miles Bridges is a very good play for the same reason. So probably more of a tournament thing, but both look good.
Okay, very nice. So let's start with some questions in the RG Discord. That is where all the cool kids hang out. We'll start with Booley's FanDuel Large Field GPP. TJ, what teams do I want at least one player from? This is such a hard question. What teams do I want exposure to? Multiple. You're asking him to name every team, essentially.
Atlanta, Philadelphia, Houston are the main 3 that you want out like multiple players from. And then the next tier I would say is probably the Pelicans.
Okay, excellent. FanDuel single entry. Taylor, I'll give this one to you here. Ingram and Bay or Okongwu and Amen Thompson?
I think Ingram and Bay has a lot of upside and shouldn't be that popular.
Okay. Chinatown says, DK Cash, Taylor, if you play Zion in cash, does it only make sense if you leave another roster spot open? This is a DK Cash question. Can you direct pivot to Ingram there?
No, Ingram's more expensive on DK. It makes it tough. Like if you play Zion and Utah, like I said, you can pivot down to CJ if it comes to that. Mm-hmm. Might be difficult though, just because so many guards look good on this slate. Yeah, you might need to leave 2 unless you can fit him into Utah.
Okay, great. What else do we have? DK GPP, TJ, we're dumpster diving in the util 3,900 and below. What do you got?
It's Omarui as the top option. And then outside of him, Cameron Payne as the top option. Sorry, if you don't already have him. Omarui second. Then maybe Trey Lyles, Terquavion Smith, I think would be a fun one to take a shot on. This is a $3,300 point guard for Philly who hasn't played that many minutes yet, but he's been a really strong point per minute producer in limited minutes. And so if he happens to get more, they got barely any bodies today. I think he would be the dumpster dive play.
Okay, interesting. As you said that in the YouTube chat, Mr. Irrelevant says, I've got a gut feeling that Terquavion Smith will outscore Campaign. So you're not alone in thinking he is at least a viable dart throw there. What else do we got here? DKGPP. TJ, if Zion and Joval are out, who would you prefer between Murphy and Nance? Oh,
Nance. Both, yeah, though. If both of them are out, I want to play both.
Yeah, okay. But Nance would be your main one. This is a good question from Chinatown. Are we calling Hield good chalk tonight? Is he chalk?
I think he's fine chalk.
Yeah. Okay. He's fine chalk. He's almost to good chalk level, but not quite. FanDuel single entry. Taylor, I'm going to bring you back in. This is the last piece. You want Bay, Bogdanovich, or Buddy, trying to get a part of that Philly Atlanta game stack.
I think Bogdanovich is going to be more popular, so I don't mind pivoting to Bay if that's the case.
Very nice. All right. FanDuel cash right back to you, Taylor, from aside to 3v3. Lillard, Ingram, and Crowder, or quickly Oubre and Barnes.
One more time.
It was a 3v3 FanDuel cash. Lillard, Ingram, Crowder, or quickly Oubre, Barnes.
I think the first one sounds a little bit better.
Okay. We got 2 Amarui questions here, TJ. First off, how safe is he? Second, does he play in a blowout? Third, 3 questions. Can we play him if he's not starting? which you kind of went over a little.
Yes, you can play him if he's not starting, but I do like him a lot less for tournaments because he's probably still going to come in fairly highly owned. Does he get blowout run?
Probably.
Like they just don't like. Maybe like if they're down 30 points, like they'll probably just put Anthony Gill there or something like that. But like they just really don't have very many big men. And so probably he's still like it would have to be a big blowout for him to stop getting run.
Okay. Very good. A few more questions. Jumping into the YouTube chat. Hit us with a thumbs up. DKGPP, TJ Herter, or Buddy Hield?
Healed.
DKGPPs, TJ, back to you again. Giannis and Miller or Jokic Ingram?
Jokic Ingram, but I really love both of those options. I have Jokic Ingram, but like I love the idea of stacking Miller and Giannis together. If I was playing more than one lineup, I'd probably do that.
Okay. All right. What do we got? How many minutes do we have projected for Traquavion? And how fragile is that projection, do you think, since we don't even know if he's starting?
18. And yeah, pretty fragile naturally.
Yeah. If he starts, would that go up, or is that 18 with him projected to start?
He's confirmed not starting already.
Oh, and there you have it. Okay. What else do we have? Got that one. How many Sixers are too many Sixers in a DKGPP?
Sixers are too many Sixers in a DKGPP. 5. It's too many.
Gotcha. I got Traquavion mixed up with Amarui. That's why the starting thing. I'm on board now. I got you. Okay. What else do we have?
Taylor, do I go Omarui and what was the? Never continue at Roth. I already forgot what my options were. It was Omarui and Jalen Johnson, or Trey Murphy and CJ McCollum going for the late swap side of things. I'd obviously change it if Zion's out.
Yeah, I think I'd be inclined to wait on the news, right? Like, I do think Jalen Johnson is really sneaky, though. I'm not sure if anyone's going there.
I do too. Ugh. Stop.
Okay. That part in the chat says I'm at the FanDuel Sportsbook. Shout out to our sponsor, FanDuel. You're doing it right, that part. He says I'm shoving hundies in and just printed big game tickets. Do we have a 30-point lock for him tonight? I don't know if he means dude scoring 30 or if he means a team that's going to win by 30. Do we have any sports betting takes, or were we focused on DFS all day?
I did not look at much sports betting stuff, though. But I think if you want to take like an interesting one, a guy who like is projected to score under 30 points, who might get it, and that would be like some really good odds on it. I really like Brandon Ingram because he could just do that even if Zion plays. If Zion's out, could easily eclipse that mark.
There you go. He says just a 30-point scorer, and Ingram. Right, it was Ingram. Is that what you said?
Yeah, that'd be the sneaky one. I'd like to do it. And if he literally just wants like a lock, the most likely person to drop 30, it's Giannis.
Yeah. All right, excellent. He says thank you. Back into the RG Discord where the cool kids are hanging out. On FanDuel, would you rather play Payne to be flexible? And Taylor, this is for you. Would you rather play Payne to be flexible for late swaps at point guard or shooting guard?
I would say, man, I don't know. Point guard? I guess shooting guard. I don't know. Probably point guard. Yeah, I think point guard's where you want to play him.
Okay, great. FanDuel single entry, TJ Crowder or KJ Martin as a scrub piece in an Atlanta Philly stack?
Might as well just go Martin there since you're already playing Philly.
Okay, great. DKGPP, Tobias and Aaron Gordon, TJ, or Buddy Hield and Miles Bridges? Toby and Aaron Gordon, or Hield and Bridges?
Hield and Bridges.
Okay, FanDuel GPP. Taylor, we're going to bring you into the mix here. Oubre or Buddy in a GPP?
Let's say Oubre. Buddy should be more popular, and I'm not hearing much about Oubre.
Okay. Steve O says DKGPP, TJ last piece. You want Hunter, Kispert, or Trey Murphy?
I would take a shot on Murphy and just hope one of their guys is out and then pivot to somebody else afterwards.
Nice. All right. DKGPP. We got less than a minute until lock Ingram or Tobias straight up.
Ingram.
Very nice. In time, there's people talking about how excited they are for baseball to come back. Ooh. No, me too. I can't wait. I can't wait to do weather updates all day, every day. It's good stuff. Hey, is Garrison Matthews viable on DK for 3K flat?
No.
That was a quick, strong agreement. I approve. What else do we got? How about Michael Porter Jr. against the Kings, who give up a ton of threes? DKGPP.
Can dig it.
If running a lot of lineups, I'd keep him in the pool, but he's not somebody I'd get to in like my first 3.
Okay. By the way, in the YouTube chat, that part says, hey, you guys really do got some great content. Thank you. We appreciate that. And you know what we ask for as far as payment? Just a thumbs up. That's it. Though you should subscribe to RG Premium as well. But make sure you hit us with that thumbs up and that subscribe on the YouTube as we get more eyeballs and try to keep this show free for you. That is what it's all about. With that, gentlemen, we have hit the lock. And I think it is time to bounce on out of here and watch some B-ball. So for TJ, for Taylor, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love it. And we will catch you tomorrow. You have been Crunch.